Once upon a time there was a poor prince who had a very small kingdom, small enough that many would dismiss it, but large enough to dream of marriage and alliance. And so the prince, whose name was already renowned far and wide, wished to marry the daughter of a mighty emperor. Boldly he asked her hand, and although 100 other princesses would have answered with joy and gratitude, this emperor's daughter had her own ideas of worth. As gifts of courtship, the prince sent two extraordinary treasures: a rose tree that bloomed only once every 5 years, bearing just a single flower of such fragrance that it made sorrows and cares vanish for anyone who inhaled it, and a nightingale whose song carried the essence of every melody ever heard, sweet and enchanting beyond measure. These were placed in silver caskets and presented to the emperor's daughter, who at that moment was idly playing a game of visiting with her ladies-in-waiting. When the rose was revealed, the court admired it as more than beautiful, as truly enchanting, but the princess, expecting perhaps a mechanical toy or a little cat, recoiled in disappointment when she realized it was real, natural, not something man-made. She scolded her father for such a plain gift. Then came the nightingale, who sang so movingly that the whole court was hushed in awe, and even the emperor himself wept at the memory of his late empress. But the princess, though momentarily touched, soon declared she wished the bird were mechanical, and when told it was living and real, she commanded it be released. She refused to meet the prince and dismissed him with disdain. Yet the prince was not so easily broken. He painted his face with soot, pulled his cap low, disguised himself as a commoner, and returned to the palace gates to ask for employment. The emperor, in need of a swineherd for his many pigs, gave him the job, and so the prince lived in a little dirty room beside the pigsty. There he worked secretly, creating marvels of invention. By evening he had crafted a magical cooking pot decorated with little bells. When the pot boiled, the bells chimed a melody, the familiar tune of Ach du lieber Augustin, alles ist weg, weg, weg. And even more wonderfully, anyone who placed a finger into the steam could instantly smell whatever was being cooked on every hearth throughout the city. The princess, passing by, heard the tune and was delighted, for it was the only piece of music she herself could play on the piano with one finger. She sent a lady to ask the price, and the disguised prince demanded 10 kisses from the princess. Outraged at first, she refused, but the little bells tinkled so sweetly that she wavered, and finally, shielded by her ladies-in-waiting, she granted the 10 kisses, in exchange for which she took the pot and delighted the court with the power to know everyone's dinners across the city. The following day, the swineherd unveiled another invention, a rattle that, when spun, played every waltz and jig ever heard in the world. Again, the princess was enthralled and demanded to know the price, but this time the swineherd asked for 100 kisses. She declared it absurd, but after walking a little way and hearing its tunes, she faltered, excusing herself that as an emperor's daughter she must support the arts. Reluctantly, she agreed to give him 10 kisses herself and let her ladies supply the rest. Protesting but powerless, they surrounded her while the swineherd claimed kiss after kiss, counting carefully. Just then, the emperor, hearing commotion from his balcony, looked down and, slipping on his spectacles, saw his daughter and the swineherd in this scandalous act. Furious, he hurried down, caught them mid-kiss, and in his rage struck the princess with his slipper before driving both her and the swineherd out of the city. In the pouring rain, the princess wept, lamenting her foolishness, wishing she had married the noble prince instead of lowering herself to kiss a filthy swineherd for trinkets. At that moment, the swineherd slipped behind a tree, washed the soot from his face, cast off his ragged clothes, and appeared in his true form, a proud and handsome prince in regal attire. The princess bowed, overcome by his majesty, but he rebuked her coldly. He told her she had spurned the honest love of a prince who offered gifts of nature's beauty, a rose and a nightingale, yet she debased herself for gaudy trifles, willing to pay in kisses what she would not give for genuine treasures of the heart. She had revealed her shallow values, and now she was rightly punished. With that, he returned to his kingdom, slamming the palace gates behind him, leaving her to her sorrow. Alone, rejected, and humiliated, she now understood the bitter truth of the song that had tempted her so. Ach, du lieber Augustin, alles ist weg, weg, weg. Everything indeed was gone. And then they both got married again.